Yeah, I did get it from about Forte Hacks.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. How y'all doing, man? What are you guys up to?
I love it.
I spent a lot of time yesterday listening to Lib in his Twitter space.
Ooh, my man Liv. This guy's on a roll, man. Vaultopolis is hustling. They're shipping things.
Yep, we're
What,
trying.
what was your highlights?
I love it.
Time to throw Gelazo on the spotto. No? No highlights? No moments?
Sorry, I'm just I'm writing some tweets on the other side here. I
All good.
where I put Discord. No, I mean it was a great deep dive into kind of the broader ecosystem, which I think is always cool to hear because I think it's a lot of Top Shot faithful that show up that now get to learn a lot more about what's going on outside of just Top Shot, but in the broader ecosystem. And you know, definitely a cool one. I'm glad I got to listen as long as I did.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, if you love that, I do believe Lib is going to be doing another Twitter space right after this. And I'll be joining that. So it's going to be a lot of fun with PL Genesis. All right. How's PL Genesis, like the Founders Forge program and Accelerator been going for you, Lib?
Yeah, it's been good. You know, it's just kind of there's a lot going on right now, right? Just like in terms of development and marketing, and you know, also maintaining you know, going through the the Founders Forge Accelerator program, coordinating things, trying to, you know, get the path to Buenos Aires for the ETH Global kind of events going on there as well. Yeah, but yeah, so far so good because you know, they have mentors. I mean, you're one of them. But they, you know, they have other mentors. They have, you know, people that are really good with you know, raising money, or you know, they have experience with Y Combinator and stuff like that. So it's yeah, no, I think it's the perfect timing for me to be part of that kind of program.
Nice, 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 nice. It's always the kind of a transition from going towards just shipping code to start thinking about like, okay, how do I use the right words and start marketing this out, right? Because yeah, it's not always an easy leap, but it sounds like you've been tackling it pretty effectively through the accelerator.
Yeah,
And even before.
and like yeah, like even just there's a whole bunch of like you know, yeah, you're just building stuff, but then it's like, oh, like how is this going to be maintainable? And you know, you have to have a pitch deck, and you know, perhaps one day raise money and that type of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
everything kind of works together. It's interesting.
100%, 100%. And even the transition of starting to build in public, it's not always the most natural one. I remember for me, like the idea of like, oh my God, you post something online, it's there forever. Like, why would anyone want to do this? To realizing like, holy hobbit, like there is infinite potential rewards for just sharing what you're building, and like random people messaging you, collaborations, like investors actually looking up your Twitter and seeing like, oh, this person is serious. They're not just like spamming people and trying to grift. So there is definitely a mental like challenge that like at least I had to overcome with getting more out there and in front of people. So yeah. We have a couple more people here. Aditya, we have OBO, welcome, welcome. Lemon Tree, oh so pretty. But the lemon flower is sweet. How you doing? No, no one's a fan of Peter Paul Mary, Puff the Magic Dragon. Oh man, I feel old. All right. Well, I guess we're 7 minutes in, so I will kick it off. Don't have like a huge rundown of events, but we have been super busy in the last week. We have about 8 more days left for Forte Hacks. So the drum is rolling. He is building. People are shipping. We have about 3,000, almost 3,000 registrants so far. Lots of attention, and the partners are just piling up more and more opportunities. Some really important and cool perks that recently got unlocked is, like we mentioned them in the email that went out. One of them is MoonPay. MoonPay is going to be doing an accelerator for 3 months with the top projects from the hackathon. And I mentioned this in the last space, but it's really, really valuable because MoonPay has a huge distribution network, being one of the top on and off ramps in the world. So that 3-month accelerator program will help you get access to their distribution networks. It'll help you get mentorship from them. And then they also have MoonPay Ventures, which can connect you to some very real venture capital if you want to take your startup or project to the next level and actually get venture backed. AWS China has also come around saying like, hey, for startups that are participating or startups in your ecosystem, we want to like offer 5K in AWS credits, but also for the winning projects, we want to offer up to 25K in credits. So that's also another opportunity. If you're building, if you have like an incorporated entity, if you want to access those credits to bring your costs down, super valuable opportunity. QuickNode also has offered $10,000 in credits for all builders, and you could access that by just going to the HackQuest page and going under perks and filling out the info there. So lots of exciting partners like reaching out and offering more and more support to the builders that are taking part in the hackathon. In addition to that, one of the most important things that happened in the last week was, who knows? Who wants to throw it out? What happened yesterday? Any takers?
Forte on mainnet. Woohoo!
Exactly. Thank you, Gelazo. So Forte is now fully live on mainnet as of yesterday. Massive shout out to the engineering team who has been working towards this moment with an immense amount of passion and effort. The dream really is happening. This is a massive unlock for consumer DeFi overall, and foundationally making interoperability as well as composability between DeFi protocols infinitely easier, along with offering better automation opportunities. And speaking of better automation and interoperability, there was a massive new release for the Flow CLI and the React SDK that Chase, Jordan, and Michael have been shipping. This includes things like DeFi action scaffold, scheduled transaction management, where you could set up, list, get, and cancel scheduled transactions on-chain directly within the Flow CLI. And they've also added 10 new React SDK hooks for cross-VM bridging, those scheduled transactions, etc. And they've also created new playground demos for each of these. In addition to that, another highlight is we've been doing activations all around the world, bringing in people from all kinds of backgrounds, teaching them about vibe coding, teaching them about smart contract development, teaching them about Forte. Over the last week, we've had live events in India, in Egypt, in Indonesia, and kicked off a 4-part Portuguese vibe coding 101 series in partnership with ETH Samba, aka ETH Latam, Venture Miner, and a bunch of other really, really cool partners. So that's kind of the round robin of updates on my side. Did anyone have anything else on the team that they wanted to share? No, I guess that's a pretty good summary. So, in the last 2 sessions, we had a more of a workshop-oriented framework where we were kind of going into deep dives on DeFi actions and scheduled transactions. With this office hour, we're going to kind of return to the regular cadence of things, lol, pun intended. And what that means is the space is pretty much open to you to share what you're working on. We have about 8 days left. Have you run into any challenges? Do you have any questions about the bounties? Do you have any questions about how to create award-winning pitches? Do you have any questions about, technical challenges that you've run into when experimenting with the latest features of Forte? Or if you don't, do you want to just share what you're working on and any opportunities to help you get to the next level? Or at the very least, like how you could also help other people in the ecosystem take a step forward and karma come back to reward you through it. I'm going to open it up to whoever is the bravest soul to step forward and share what they're working on.
I want to share something real quick.
Yep.
It's
Go ahead,
just
Noah.
I'm about to share my screen. Are you seeing this? Or are you just seeing the Discord? I hate when it doesn't.
Let me
There it
see.
is.
Let me see.
Uh,
I'm seeing your wallet's private key.
okay, glad.
I see your screen.
So I just submitted an issue to the GitHub
back to what
repo.
they're most comfortable doing. So it's like if you were like a wrestling guy your whole life and then you learn how to strike, the second
The fuck was that?
I
Are you
think my
hearing me?
Spotify started playing a podcast by mistake. Sorry about that.
Okay, sure. I just submitted like an issue for the nodes on GitHub. So I'm trying to set up like verification node, the lowest one for all the 3 nodes for Flow, and I want to do it in order to sustain the library itself. By my logic is basically in order to actually sustain these books forever, we also have to sustain the infrastructure that holds them. So I just submitted this. I'm gonna put the link on the chat, so if anybody can go take a look and maybe give it a like or two, I'll really appreciate that.
Nice job. Nice job. I love how you're thinking about future proofing it beyond just like the I'm not superstitious, superficial elements of like, hey, it's on chain, so it's there forever. Well, there's also node architecture that you have to think about.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else want to share what they're working on if they're participating in Forte Hacks, even if they're not?
No one else wants to show anything. Ali, do you want me to help? Do you want to help me show workflow?
Absolutely. I'd love very few things more.
All righty. If you could go ahead and open up, and I'll create a lobby for us. You might have to reclaim and re-get ships because I did just refresh the contract. But let me share my screen while you do that. Is it me, or is Discord sounds changed?
No, it sounds the same to me.
I think it's spooky. It's like
It's the Halloween
Yeah.
theme.
Yeah.
Super annoying.
Okay. Here we go. Alrighty. So this is Warpflow. This is a game I've been working on for a while as my side project. I started with our internal Flow hackathon building the NFT collection. So the art for these spaceships that you see here is 100% on chain on Flow EVM. So the short version is that this is I've created a fully on-chain rendering pipeline that has snippets and pieces of SVGs that are sort of arranged like an octopus, and depending on the stats of the spaceship, it assembles the right art with the token Yuri returning the on-chain metadata, and inside of that the image as base64 JSON or base64 SVG. And so since then, I've been building a fully on-chain game around these. So other than the front end and the UI, everything that you're going to see here is 100% on-chain. There is no backend for this at all. But I'll create a lobby oh, I can't. I might be blocked because of how something is set in the background.
Well, I created lobby too. Should I?
Well, I can't join it because I should be allowed to join it, but I can't because of my front end's confused about anti-spam. That's fine. Let me just log out and log in with a different wallet. Stand by.
Show us them assets.
Okay. So everyone can claim free ships. I'm probably going to change it to once a month in the future. But right now it's just one time. You can claim free ships. It's a commit and reveal random generation to create the ships. So you have to construct them. And then from their serial number, the commit and reveal generates the ships and their different properties based off of those random numbers. Ships have different levels of equipment and different levels of armor, hull, and engines. And higher levels are more powerful, but they also cost more. And your points allotment or threat level you're allowed to do in a mission. So traditionally, or the standard is 1,000 points. So that would let you do 10 ships that cost 100 points each, or 5 ships that cost 200 points each, or somewhere in between. So I'm going to join the lobby that Ali created. And then I'm going to select my fleet. So you can see that I'm in the lower left here. Whoever selects their fleet will go first. Whoever selects their fleet first gets to go first. But Ali, could you go ahead and submit yours if you're ready?
I am okay. So it says fleet selection phase, waiting for both players. Okay, when I select fleet is not selected, so I guess I might have to in this account create a new fleet. Okay, so
yeah, you have to do what I did. Okay, so I'll go. You have to do what I did, and you have to go and claim your free ships and then construct.
Oh
them.
yes, I'm constructing them now.
Yeah.
1 second.
If anyone is buying the URL here and decides to play with this, that's fine. It's permissionless, but also know that right now I am refreshing the contracts relatively regularly. So I would love it if anyone wants to play and has any feedback. But if you're going to get attached to the ships that you get, don't play just yet, because the contracts are going to be swapped out several times before I officially start alpha.
All right, I'm just almost done selecting everything.
Okay, so while Ali's doing that, this is the map that you play on. So it's a turn-based tactics game, kind of inspired in part by games like DS Wars or Advance Wars on DS, if you played that back in the day, or like the Final Fantasy Tactics game or Fire Emblem, where it's turn-based, it's deterministic. So weapon A shooting ship B with shield C shall do 8 damage. So we can see Ali has deployed his ships now. So he gets to go first, but I get to see what ships he has and where they are before I deploy my fleet. And he's taking a very conservative deployment. So I'm going to counter that with a very aggressive deployment and move my ships up. So the purple squares that you see here are nebula, which block line of sight, but not movement. And then the ones with numbers on them are scoring scoring squares that you get points to win the match. Yellow can be used more than once, blue only one time. So I'm going to go ahead and create my fleet now. And then Ali, I think we still need to manually close this and go to the game and load it.
Yep.
And it is your turn.
Yep.
So I'm waiting for Ali to go. So in the game, we take turns moving one of our ships. And in a turn for a ship, you move one ship. And if you're in range, you shoot or use your special ability. So Ali has just moved that ship there. So I'm going to go ahead and move this ship up here. Oh, I still got a caching bug with that button state. I hate front-end development. So I'm going to move here. And you can't see the wallet pop up, but these are all transactions. This is all fully on chain. And then the highlights when you click on a ship show how far that ship can move and shoot. It's Ali's turn again.
Yeah.
Run a couple of rounds so we can at least shoot each other. Although that might
So-
actually take too long for this.
So each of these is a transaction that maybe we're
Yeah,
not
each
seeing
of these
the
is a
approval?
transaction. You're just not seeing the approval because it's right now. I'm using wallet extensions for it. I'll probably switch to an embedded wallet of some kind, but I'm a little worried about vendor lock-in. So we'll see what I decide in the long-term future.
And how long does it take to I forget, like how long does it take to know when a transaction is sealed? Like how many seconds or
Just a couple. You get it returns soft finality in 4 seconds or less. So when you see that, like when you see the ship move, that means that the transaction has happened. Next time Ali goes, or next time it's my turn, I'll announce when I move the ship. Like click submit. Okay. So I'm moving here. I'm clicking submit now. I am confirming the transaction now. 3, 4, in about 4 seconds.
Anyone placing any prediction markets on who's going to win this one?
So the sort of core unique concepts of this game are one, all of the ships are NFTs. And so you can buy, sell, and trade them. And so, that lets advanced players set up, detailed and specific strategies where they're able to find and buy the exact ship that does the role that they want it to do and has the exact loadout to fit within the points requirements. Ships can also become more powerful by leveling up. And the way you level a ship up is by destroying other ships. And ships that are leveled up, they can also spawn pre-leveled up or be generated pre-leveled up. But once they level up, they cost the same amount, but they become more powerful in game. But again, you have to destroy your opponent's ships to level up ships. And by destroy, we mean destroy, like the NFT is gone, burned. Well, it's not burned because you can still recycle it for scrap. And then get a token that you can use to buy more ships with like 10 to 1. You also get a percentage of the scrap fee for destroying someone else's ship. If you but in the game, which I'm not sure if we'll get far enough to see that in this test, the way that it works is each of the ships has a certain amount of hit points. This one has 120. If it gets down to 0, the reactor starts to overload. And if it finishes after 3 turns, the reactor will overload, or if anything shoots it, the reactor overload level will increase. And if you finish a round with a ship in an overload state, that ship explodes and is destroyed. But you can before that happens, you can send any of your ships to the spot next to it and use an assist function instead of shooting to assist that ship. That's hard to say. Assist the ship in escaping the battlefield. And so that ship, that the assisting ship won't get to shoot that turn, and the damaged ship will get to run away, but it won't be lost, and then the battle continues. So there'll be circumstances where you have to decide, can I afford to safely evacuate one of my ships and still win the game, or do I need to make a tactical sacrifice and allow one of my ships to die to make sure that I win the game?
Last time I was playing, I tried to do a total troll move and just try to get everyone to attack Brian's strongest ship. And then I was considering fleeing battle as soon as I destroyed it, but he kind of decimated me.
I have a little bit of an advantage on Ali. I know how this works a little bit better.
was it difficult to like set up a session with like 2 people?
So currently, it's on the to-do list to make reserved lobbies, but currently it's just Ali created an open lobby and I joined it. So anyone can see the list of open lobbies from the lobbies tab.
Because I've never made a multiplayer game before, I assumed that would be the hardest part, but it sounded from you like that wasn't actually that difficult.
For a blockchain game, multiplayer is not that difficult because you're not dealing with net code and net programming, and the like making a 3D game like a first person shooter or something. Multiplayer online is incredibly difficult because there's there's not even words to talk about in English what's going to happen because it's actually a fiction. It's kind of if you ever make one of these games, it kind of makes you realize just how much Call of Duty and Halo and all of those games are lying to you about what happens. Because imagine, there has to be a round trip traffic between your client, the server, and your opponent's client. So if you see your opponent running up to a ledge, then there's a state where their client knows that they have jumped or fallen, but the server doesn't know that yet, and your client doesn't know that yet. So both of them have to predict what might is going to have happened. And it gets very complicated very quickly. But this is more just kind of a chore to set up with this kind of thing. So we're almost done the round, and maybe we'll run it into the next round to see if we can shoot each other a little bit.
I had a question.
Ali has seized the the most valuable scoring. Yeah, go ahead with the question.
Yeah, you said your game doesn't has any backend yet. So how are you planning on implementing the marketplace for your NFTs? Because like the marketplace would have filtering and querying as well. Like how would you do that
So
completely
I'm
on
not
its own?
going to implement a marketplace. I am going to encourage people to use OpenC. That's one of the reasons for
Okay.
making this on blockchain, is that there are already marketplaces made by marketplace experts that are very, very good and very, very high quality. And so I can leverage that functionality without needing to build it myself. So Ali took the highest scoring thing, but I'm going to make him suffer for it and blast his ship.
But you're not
because
gonna
he's-
add marketplace to the game?
I'm not going to make a marketplace because the ships are on OpenSea. So why do I need a marketplace?
All right.
You can just use OpenSea.
I mean,
So I'll
with
link
DeFi
to
Access,
OpenSea.
wouldn't it be just like very easy to make the player's game and life smoother to have it in game now? And with
Potentially, I mean, you can always think of new features to add. What I actually want to do with this, my hope, and I know that I have to create the first one, but my hope is that what I've made here is actually just a reference client. But the way that the contract that sells the NFTs work is there is a refer field in each NFT purchase, and the referrer gets from 10% to 50% of the NFT sale, depending on how many NFTs they've sold before permissionlessly. So it's a way that if other people want to make better front ends for this game, they can permissionlessly, and they have a built-in way to monetize that.
Yeah, Brian, could I chime in there? Like, you also get benefits of like discovery if you go through things like OpenSea, right? Like, people have find and search and discover things there as well, right? Like, why build something that feels locked in and hard to discover? And then people are like, the benefits of blockchain, yeah, then he doesn't have to build it. And then also like allowing that to be open, where maybe the business model is different than the way you'd be thinking about it in Web 2. It's not like, hey, come here and I'm gonna, have everybody in here. But that model of like, if I can get these to be cool, discoverable, other people find them interesting, someone else composes on top of them, builds something else. Now the business model is actually like the royalty that goes through the sales. Then like I've created something different than just here's a like Web 2 style marketplace where I'm making money from it.
Exactly, and there's like basically free and automatic co-marketing, right? If someone is searching for an NFT that's similar to this, they might see these NFTs on OpenSea and be curious about what it is and become a customer with it. But what I really want to see the most is, I hate front-end development and I don't have time to do like a full 3D version of this, but I'd love to see someone, build a really slick client for this, or a really good mobile client for this. And unlike with things like, the Twitter and Reddit APIs, like I can't turn this off. And so I can't let you build a, spend all of your time building this business and then change my mind and say, okay, well, I'm increasing the cost of the API by 100 times. And you're out of business now, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like it's why is this ship? I don't know why this ship is only going to take 1 damage.
I'd imagine less people would want to compose on it too if it felt like it was locked into your marketplace, right? Like if it
Right.
felt open to any marketplace, then the composability might become more of a thing.
I guess one of the arguments for it. Oh, sorry, you're going to say something?
Yeah, I can continue, Brian.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think one of the arguments for it is like in the world of EVM, if you look at like OpenC and Blur, from my understanding, like royalties are set like at the marketplace protocol level. So if I have, if I put a new, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong on this, if I put a new NFT on OpenSea and I could charge like X percentage royalty, or I get X percent royalty, as soon as someone purchases that, takes it off and puts it on Blur or another NFT marketplace, I don't necessarily continue to have access to those royalties. I think one way around that is like we have metadata views for NFTs on Flow. So you're able to specify like, hey, here's the original creator of these ships. And regardless of what marketplace they're listed on in the ecosystem, like this is the address that you should pay out royalties. Is that make sense?
I think so, but I actually don't want royalties. My view and my model is that, similar to a book, it's right of first sale. You bought it from me. Once you bought it from me, it's yours to do with whatever you want with it. And I don't want to interfere with that. And I think the long-term health of the ecosystem is better by letting people freely sell and dispose of things. It's like with real Warhammer gray plastic, it benefits hugely from secondary markets on eBay, because whenever the new stuff comes out, a bunch of players who chase the meta sell all of their old stuff on eBay to people like me, and then they buy all of the new plastic using the money that they sold. And so, I think I'm personally thinking that it's a competitive advantage for me to not choose not try and get royalties. So I'm giving Ali a choice here. Ali's ship right here. Oops.
I feel like
about to blow up. Go ahead.
I've had to when I first got into Web3, I had to fundamentally like rethink business models entirely on how things work, right? Because a lot of the things that you think of that would have worked in Web 2, like the business model doesn't actually work the same, right? Because like so much of it is on chain. Someone could go build like a contract that interacts with it, or a transaction that interacts with it, and build some other thing, like you're saying, like another client on top of it. So it's like a built-up protocol that people can use. But now I'm just kind of trusting maybe I have the best app or something, right? So it's like maybe you have to rethink the business model entirely to be like, oh, well, maybe by keeping it open and you saying, oh, this becomes something everyone composes on top of, maybe now instead the business model is like you create a DAO around it that decides like how the project like continues on in the future, and there's a token or something, right? So it's just like through rethinking like what that looks like in the future, because the underlying pieces are just on chain,
Yeah, and it's my favorite idea of rethinking it is what I'm trying to do with this, is that the front end and back end developers of a project don't necessarily need to be the same entity, same ownership, or even talk to one another. And so like, there've been a lot of games that, are online games that have gone out of business, and the owners have made a business decision to shut it down, and sometimes legally and with permission and sometimes illegally, the community has spun up servers to keep it going. But with something like this, like if I choose that it just doesn't make sense for me to continue working on it, the consequence to the community is that means there's not going to be any new types of spaceships added to the game. Unless even then, like theoretically, it starts to get into a murky gray area with that part. But what could definitely happen is someone in the community can say, hey, everyone, I'm setting up a Patreon. Give me, it'll cost $500 a month for me to run a front end, redo the front end. And then the game can live on. And I don't have to screw over a community because it no longer, I can't afford to keep it going. But the community who's interested in it can keep it running. And, I like things where everyone wins. And so I'm trying to do that as much as I can. So I'm actually doing, since Ali was trying to troll me, I'm trying to troll him here. And I am blasting the ship into oblivion. So I don't think you can do anything to save it. I think, and we haven't actually done this yet. The Comstock is going to be the first ship to be destroyed in this game. I don't think I've actually taken it that far.
You sunk my battleship. Move this around.
We've been demoing this a long time. If anyone else has something they want to show, we can definitely switch over to that.
This is super cool, Brian. I have a question about like, obviously it would be possible to extend it and I don't know, like put a wager up on battles. Is that something that you have any interest in like embedding into the game?
Yeah, so I both love and hate the idea of gambling with it. So a couple of things. Another one of my fundamental ideas with this is that, and I don't know if this is going to work or not, but kind of the tagline for this game, or the subtext maybe for the company, is, if this gets that far, would be don't play to earn, play to win. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't, get value out of this or earn or come out ahead if you're good at it and a serious player. But it's like, I don't want to manufacture a house of cards that draws in speculation. But I do want it to embrace the things that you can do with crypto. So games with wagers on them is definitely one of it. Internally, I would probably only do it with the game's token. But externally, I want to cooperate with anyone who wants to put pools on it. And I think that that's a neat idea as well, and sort of a combined esports thing. Again, like it's probably never going to get that big, but sort of exploring the ideas behind it. But then, really the economic model with this is the idea that it's very much a horizontal strategy rather than a vertical strategy. And so I'm not an economics major. I'm not entirely sure this will work, but the general idea is that I believe I can create value out of nothing in a stable, sustainable, long-term way, because the ships cost flow and the ships will be destroyed over time. The token is created by melting down ships. I might make it so that you can just buy it at the same rate too, so people don't have to jump through hoops to buy ships and melt them without looking at it. But then if this grows over time, that sort of creates a stable anchor point for the value of the token. But it creates tokens out of nothing. And as long as the game stays healthy and the economy stays healthy and doesn't crash, it's kind of like, there might be, if there were 100 million of these tokens, but at any given point in time, most of them are being held or put back into the ecosystem using spaceships, then I can very carefully help stabilize the economy, either by burning the tokens or selling the tokens that I get for people buying ships, depending on whether I need to bring the token price up or push it down to keep it stable. But then it's anchored against the price of flow. And I think that that's a way to create value out of nothing, because most of it is in use and large amounts of it aren't getting sold at one time most of the time. I think it might not work. Any other questions?
Hey,
Or
so like, yeah, like really cool game. And I
thank you.
just had like one question, like, how would you like plan to like compete with the existing Web2 games, basically wherein user doesn't have to like, like put any kind of crypto, or there's like basically very less friction wherein he can just take his device and he can start playing, wherein here he might have to like go and buy a NFT, and there's a bit of friction basically.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I do want to make it open to non-crypto native people. Again, I'm thinking about an embedded wallet, although I'm a little worried about vendor lock-in if I go down that. Mostly I just haven't put the brain power to solving that yet. But the biggest and the main answer to that is I'm not competing against Web2 games. This is designed to be a niche game for a relatively niche audience. But that doesn't mean that it can't be fairly big. And so it's in part inspired by things like there's a game called Conquer Club, which is conquerclub.com, and it's like online correspondence Risk. But it's got lots of different maps, and but they're not competing in the same spheres, right? Like it's a niche group of people who like that kind of game, and in this, I'm not expecting that this is going to be game of the year or anything. I'm not going after Silksong here. But what it is people who like and understand crypto, people who like and understand tactics games and games that have both a strategic component where you need to sort of compose a fleet and a strategy for how you're going to approach the match and how you think your opponent might do it, and then a tactical element of moving pieces around on a board with serious consequences. Like, I do think there is a niche for that isn't really being met. I at least haven't found any crypto games that are like this. There are non-crypto games that do this kind of thing that are tactics kind of games, but I think there's enough space for this to work as a niche game. And that's a big part of also the reasons to build it on crypto and open up the front end is like, as long as this is people are interested, I would release new like collections and categories of ship class, with different art and different styles and different, weapons and abilities. Should it, go nuts, which I don't think it will, then this could eventually become like a full-time job. But I don't think that's going to happen. What I want like a sustainable side gig that I can continue to work on, on the weekend for a few hours and make people happy and get a little revenue out of it, and have it going for a long time without it taking large amounts of work to maintain servers, maintain backends, handle scaling, which is all very complicated with a Web2 game. But a lot of it, like one of my favorite things about blockchain is and one of the reasons why you need so much funding when you start a company is you need to be able to successfully manage scale without it breaking your product. It's very easy. A handful of students and a few weeks can make any app in existence work. You could make Uber easily, but making Uber that works with 10 million people on the platform at the same time is very different and very, very difficult. But in blockchain, horizontal scaling, at least on the back end, is the network's problem. It's not my problem. Deaton team already ran into that problem with someone else and built this whole network to make sure that it can scale horizontally with lots of users. So I can focus on the part that I find fun, which is making a game.
Very well said.
That's true.
You had mentioned that you would like to make it kind of like normie friendly, even though it's likely a niche game. But I would be really curious to know what like the Passkeys onboarding might look like, which would avoid the issue of vendor lock-in because it's native to Flow.
Yeah, I'm very interested and excited about that. And that's on the long list of to-dos, is to figure out how to implement that. And that would solve a lot of the problems. And then Flow too. Well, then, Flow with easier and more native account abstraction through a couple of different possibilities. I haven't looked into Passkeys enough to know which ones work there, but I know there would be one that works. Like that does make it, very possible. But I don't know that we have it's just things to figure out. But I like that idea a lot. And that's, in general, we've got a UX problem in crypto the same way that the internet did, in the beginning for the first 15 years of its existence. And until we fix those things, we're not going to get normal people, no matter how good the other stuff is. All right. Thank you all for taking a look at that.
I love it.
No, we should play this every turn, every office hours. This is fun. Yeah, we have about 11 minutes left. Is everyone on the call participating in Forte Hacks?
Yes. Hi.
Hey, Ryuga.
Hey.
Welcome. PP Woo. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Met you a couple times. And Screms Gang. All right, Shiny Rocks. Welcome. Who else is on here?
Ollie, dude, do you mind if I shill something?
If you pay me 5 flow, you could show whatever you want. No,
How
I'm
about
joking.
5
Go for it.
Yeah, so
Go
for
ahead.
those unaware, so basically, I made Vaultopolis, and the first token that we kind of came out with was T-Shot. So basically, you can trade in an NBA Top Shot NFT and get a token called T-Shot. And with that T-Shot token, you do a bunch of things. So you can trade it back into the vault, which has 185,000 NFTs in growing, and you get a random one back using Flow's on-chain, verifiable on-chain system. But then we also have liquidity pools set up on the EVM side and on the Cadence side. And then just recently, I think 3 days ago, we launched an incentives program. So it was like over $6,000 over 12 weeks is distributed to everyone that just holds the token on EVM. And it's also blacklisting all the the treasury and any of my accounts basically. So this is actual, community holders holding the token. And so we're distributing everything through Merkle. I never used this before, but basically, they have this whole system where if you're just holding the token on EVM, it'll distribute the rewards on an 8-hour rolling cycle, basically. So it's from now until it's for 12 weeks, basically. And then the goal is that kicks up interest, and then after that, to maybe move away a little bit from Merkle and go towards just kind of liquidity pools and boosting it there. But that's the plan right now, and I wouldn't mention it if it wasn't something I really believe in. Not just the token, but the rewards are very lucrative, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm making to kind of strengthen this token as well. So I don't know, check it out. Even if you're not really interested in Top Shot, I'm making other stuff for other projects as well. But the T-Shot token and the tokenomics behind is pretty interesting, and just maybe give it a look. As I dive into the tokenomics, and I want to increase the number of holders, and I want to increase market cap and TVL, all this stuff. So any little help is appreciated, and in return you'll get through these incentives wrapped flow. So basically get money. So it's a fair exchange of actions, I guess.
Really, really, really cool. So I have a couple questions. So for the Merkle distributor, like when did you do the snapshot of the addresses, or are you kind of like creating a new Merkle distributor every day based on the addresses that are holding on that day?
Yeah, so so basically there's 4 campaigns. One is just the 12 weeks. But it's not it's rolling 8-hour snapshots. So Merkle does it like they do a snapshot every 8 hours and distribute accordingly to that. And then I forgot to mention, but I have 3 boosted weeks. So this week is actually boosted. So that means it's double rewards. And then Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving is boosted, and I think Christmas is boosted as well. So yeah, like this week especially is double rewards basically. So it's like so like just basic math. I mean, when I just kind of launched this, it was like I think there was only several $1,000s of the token that was held by the community on EVM. Obviously, it's changed a bit, but like for this week in particular, it's like $800 being distributed. So like the APR and stuff is kind of through the roof, to be honest. Maybe I added a 0 somewhere, but I think everyone wins.
Wow.
Can you do like a quick walkthrough of how to do these things you're talking about?
I would say you can grab T-Shot on either Kitty Punch or Increment Fi, and then just bridge it over to EVM, and that's it. Just hold it on EVM.
The value of T-Shot is
I love
it roughly follows like the floor price of moments, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's how basically we acquired like 140,000 NFTs to seed the vault initially. And they're all acquired, I think, maybe around 30, 35 cents, whatever happened to be. And then we set the price at that when we set the liquidity pools up. But it kind of it ebbs and flows with the price of moments on third-party marketplaces like Floaty. So yeah, it's supposed to represent basically Top Shot minted something like 45 million NFTs. And what do you do when so many NFTs are treated like floors? Economically and you know, like in your mind that they're treated all the same. It's like, well, just turn them into fungible tokens. We can move them quick. We can do some cool things with it that we can't easily do with NFTs. So that was the premise behind it.
Very, very, very interesting. The incentives are fascinating. So if someone ends up going on Kitty Punch and decides to buy like 1 million of them and like says screw it to the slippage and it increases the price of the token, that incentivizes people to actually go and like mint it exactly and mint it and like because they'll get a ton more of the what's it called, moments. Interesting.
Yeah, there's an arbitrage opportunity. There's arbitrage opportunities like everywhere because you know, even if the cadence price and the EVM price isn't the same, there's arbitrage opportunities there. Like literally, I think there's like a 5 cents difference, but 5 cents difference is like 25% or something. So there was an arbitrage opportunity there. There's arbitrage opportunity when Floaty has listings at 15 cents. But yeah, you know, I think as time goes on, I think as time goes on, and with you know Forte and actions and all this other stuff, like you know, there's going to be some maybe auto balancing and stuff, but I think there's going to be but right now there's opportunity, to be honest, for people arbitraging and stuff.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And I don't know how much to read into the alpha, but you did say this was the first token. So the alpha part of my brain is
well, it's Vaultopolis.
Your Twitter.
Vaultopolis. You can't have one vault and call yourself Vaultopolis, right?
No,
like,
of course not. Of course. Who? What? That doesn't grammatically make sense at all. All right. Cool. All right, folks. We have about 4 minutes left. All right. I guess for the people that joined in, is there anything you want to share? Any questions you have about Forte Hacks? This is your space to get live feedback on your product, live clarification on any of the rules or the perks that are out there or the prizes, or just to make friends and introduce yourself and share what you're interested in.
Hey, is it possible if I could get feedback on my project?
Yeah, of course, Obio. This is what office hours are all about.
Yeah, sorry, don't have much time though. Pew 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 pew.
This is the story of my life.
Yeah. Hope you can see my screen.
Let me see. Yes.
Yeah, apologies for the UI though. It's pretty weird. But for the actions thing was really interesting, and I thought like maybe I try it with AI tools, because now you can just have things in like how would I put it? Simple transactions, and also I'm guessing actions are in the future. Actions are gonna be like simple swap. So like let's say you have a transaction for swaps on Increment Fi, and another DeFi protocol comes about. It's easy to just swap it and use that one as well, right?
Exactly. So when you're using the DeFi action, it's kind of like agnostic to the underlying protocol. So what's happening behind the scenes is there's something called connectors, and these are connecting to the different like dexes, like if you're going to do something like the swap action. And then you just like get the quote, like the best like one that you expect, or you get the quote on how much to expect the output is going to be, and then it just does it behind the scenes. So from the developer's perspective, like you don't have to manually configure, find like, oh, here's the Uniswap v2 like contract. Okay, I'm going to take this ABI, I'm going to integrate it into my app, so on and so forth.
Okay, then that's cool, because in this kind of system, I guess the AI will be able to let you make decisions based on the best possibility. So I guess an example would be you could just let it know that swap, I don't know, 5 flow tokens for USDC flow. And based on that, it's going to generate the transaction. First, it gets your balance and generate the transaction based on what you want. That way, it gives you the parameters, and we also have the transaction code already templated, but
Very
based
cool.
on what you want. Yeah, so you can then click to sign it and approve, and it's done. And yeah, you can basically see the transaction, but it's a bit fast, so it might take a while. So I found this
Nice.
really cool, because I mean AI is pretty big now, and you can find it for like, yeah, basically 5 flow for the USDC. And based on these actions, you can just keep on improving giving the AI more tools, and the more tools you give it, the more things it can do, from flash loans to things like scheduled transactions, to find an arbitrage opportunity just by talking to it, and then it goes haywire. But it was something really nice, and I guess very unique to Flow. And hopefully when I think it's only Increment Fi that has a connector right now. Am I right?
Does anyone else on the call know if Kitty Punch has already been hooked up? I think Kitty Punch is connected, but I'm not like entirely sure.
There's a Uniswap v2 which connects to KittySwap v2. V3 is currently we're working on v3 connector, so that would allow you to connect to Kitty Punch's Uniswap v3 pools.